Hey folks, this is Doc Stars, Donald Adams. I just wanted to give you a coronavirus update from the perspective of Sound of Stars frequencies. In the comments section of this video below, you'll find a link. In that link, this will be updated as I get a chance. You'll find a number of resources, articles, information bites. There's a couple of things that you should know. Depending on your situation, if you have, for example, elderly people in your life, or if you have people that have a compromised immune system, chances are you're probably concerned about this coming to your neighborhood. I want to just tell you what I know, like a snapshot of what I know to date, what I think that you should be aware of and be investigating. And then you should also, I think, also be alert to dead ends, solutions and situations that are going to be described as, useful that aren't, or misunderstandings that might get you into hot water. So one of the very first things that you need to know about is you don't want to try to directly boost your immune system generally with certain kinds of supplements and other sorts of remedies. And the reason for that is something called a cytokine storm. So that's detailed more in the link that you'll find in the comments section below. But the important thing is you don't want to try to, if you or someone you know gets this, you don't want to try to fight it the way that you might normally with certain kinds of, vitamins, mineral types, supplement types. The reason for that is it'll have the opposite effect of what you're hoping for, not because it wouldn't generally be good, but because in this particular situation, it'll trigger the cytokine storm, which will be a lot more dangerous. So what you want to do is also pay attention to solutions that are coming out that are essentially fake or hoaxes. I'll try to go into this more in detail at some point in the future, but I've been seeing a lot of people offering woo-woo solutions and trying to use fancy footwork with selling junk, basically, and not being responsible for it. So, as you know, we've been doing frequencies for a very long time, almost 2 decades now. There's been a number of people in the last few years that have they seem to be coming mainly from an ideological new age, like some kind of a corrupted new age format. I won't go into all the details of how I see that, but essentially what's happened is I think they've tried to hijack, the realm of frequencies, and there's a lot of people out there that are marketing stuff and they don't understand the science. They don't know how this technology actually works. What they've done is they've memorized talking and speaking points, unfortunately, from people like me. They've been going around trying to poach contents, ideas, methods, and my guess is in a rush to try to capitalize on an emerging market, they put out really bad product. And so you need to be, if you're putting yourself or your family in a situation where you may be relying on some of these kinds of solutions, to actually keep you safe or give you a reasonable measure of protection, I just want to caution you about that. So one of the things that's been happening is you see a lot of these not very well educated in the sciences or in this particular technology marketers, and they've been putting out all kinds of different phone apps. And I'm just going to go on record for saying that you can rest assured that the vast majority of the phone apps that you run across, no matter how well they're described or marketed, are either horribly flawed or they don't work. And so there's a few key points you should watch for. So you can certainly store frequencies on an iPhone or on an Android, but you're not going to get the kind of effects that you would normally want to get. A lot of these people talk about Rife. It's like they're ransacking the Rife community to try to crank out some cash. Most of the mobile phones that are out there as they are not technically able to properly deliver the kind of signal that would be usually required to have a meaningful effect. There would have to be changes and adaptations I'm not going to talk about here, because if any of these marketers are watching my video, of course, there's rarely credit given to me or people like me. They'll just change their dance and gig, and then it'll be like a new show. But the other thing also that you need to know about is that most of the phone apps that are out there, even though they can technically digitally store numeric frequencies and broadcast them, they can't broadcast them in the right way. I'm not going to go into the detail of why that is here, because I don't want to give them, more of a leg up than they should have. But for you, just know that to get the kind of frequency you would need in your body to make any kind of difference potentially to a coronaviral infection, you have to deliver it in the right way. And most mobile phones can't do that on their own. And then the other thing is, in order to effectively use frequencies, you have to have some understanding of biology and bioelectronics and how frequencies actually interact with the body. And again, unfortunately, most of the people out there offering woo-woo solutions don't know anything about that. So one of the things that you should know about is Wi-Fi or Bluetooth are known to compromise health, period. So you shouldn't be trying to deliver a frequency wellness solution using Wi-Fi or Bluetooth, because it's counterproductive. We suspect that there is potentially some kind of 5G relationship to the virus and its propagation. So 5G is very high frequencies that are very destructive to the body. But then so is 2.4Gs. A number of different bandwidths at different power levels can compromise health. So what we know is that certain kinds of frequencies can be healing and regenerative, but in this particular case, what you want to do, I'm going to just tell you what I think the best case solution is. I think that the best case is to review the Spooky 2 system. I don't sell that. I don't get any money from them. I've just followed the capacity of their hardware and software for a long time. Probably it's the least expensive solution that will actually let you deliver frequencies that could be tailored to the coronavirus. And the other, one really, really good resource, and again, I don't make any money, this is just someone that I know of and I respect their work, but that's Charbonne. She makes really, really, really good frequencies from a scientific perspective. I'm not going to describe everything that is entailed with that, but essentially she knows what she's doing. She knows what she's talking about. And she's selling, some of these jokers out there are selling systems for thousands of dollars that are just junk. But you can get, like for $15, you can get her frequency set. And then I think you can get like an entry model Spooky 2, right proper generator for about $100. It's somewhere around there, and you would get some accessories. So that's one thing that you should consider. And there's a bunch of other things in this link I've put that I hope will help you. I suggest that you read it. There are certain kinds of supplements and herbs like you can take, antiviral ones. So I've talked about a lot of different subjects in this link, and I'll get that off to you as soon as I can. Now the other thing is, I know for a lot of you that have been following our group for some time, you probably are wondering about the frequency that we've made called the or it's called viral inhibitor. So I'm going to just say this right off the bat, we don't know if that would be effective. That particular frequency that we developed and that we sell, that's experimental, it has not been tested against coronavirus. There is a premise that, I think when you review some of the literature in this link, there is a premise that we might look at and think that it could be somewhat helpful. And one of the reasons for that is that we know that viral bodies can be modulated in the ULF, the ultra low frequency spectrum. But these are lower frequencies. And some of the frequencies that we see in the rave community are also like they're not in the kilohertz or higher bandwidth, or even in the very, very high ULF or in the lower RF spectrum. But it seems as though there is the historic precedent for being able to manipulate viruses within the ULF. We do see that in the CAFL documentation and similar. And this appears to have happened in some of our trials in the past. We've had a number of members that appear to have had different kinds of viral and bacterial infections, tried that viral inhibitor frequency that we developed, and they seem to have gotten really good results. But you need to understand that that particular frequency, the design that's in that track, the only thing it's meant to do is to provide an impulse in the body and mind of a sense of what it feels like to recover from a virus. Now, it may be that we were successful in how we designed that, to sonically and electromagnetically manipulate state, but past that, it's a blank. And because we had so many people report success on using it with generic viruses and bacterial infections, you're welcome to try that. And it's low cost. You can deliver it acoustically or through a very low cost portable silent delivery system that we've been using all along. I'll put a link in the video section there. I know that for me, if I was in a situation where I had a loved one or it was myself that I was concerned about being exposed to this, then based on what I've seen, I probably would be using the viral inhibitor just as a backup, just to carry with me. But I wouldn't rely on it. I would just have it there as an option to try. I think what I would, if I was concerned about known infection, I'd go with the spooky 2 route, and I would get Charbonne's frequency. You're not mobile in that sense, but I think it could be quite effective. So depending on what your budget and your technical expertise is, my suggestion is read up on the kinds of things that you can and should be taking insofar as the right supplements, the wrong ones. Just be aware, of those elements. Please avoid the junk frequency stuff out there. It's just turning into nonsense. Like I go on YouTube and there's like supposed right frequencies or harmonic shaman, this, that, like it's just, a lot of it's bullshit. And you don't want to put yourself in a situation where you're relying on, the metaphysical woo-woo, I feel like this must be science-like stuff. Don't do that. Again, if you want to try some of the experimental things that we've done in the past that we saw, interesting results on with viral infections apparently and bacterial infections apparently, you're welcome to try that. But it's purely experimental, and I don't know to what degree that particular track would work. It's 10 years old, and we made that as a generic kind of one-size-fits-all for a very wide class, an average class of viral type, bacterial type bodies. So you're welcome to try it if you want to. The links are there. But if you're going through this, my suggestion is don't freak out. Don't get caught up in the crazy worry. I think that you should be concerned. You need to be discriminating. Educate yourself. Don't just take one person's opinion. And if someone tries to, one concern I have is that people are going to try to take advantage of people and capitalize on that. And I'm seeing people in the different supposed alternative healing areas that are really just they're grifters or they're sleazy marketers, and they see it as an opportunity. So do your due diligence. Get more than one opinion. Try to see what the mainstream is saying, and then try to see what actual authorities and the alternative health are saying, and then synthesize what works best for you. I hope that helps.